Hi, everybody. So, I wanted to share with you what's been going on, and this is more for me because it's something that I just maybe now realize that I have been struggling with my entire life, and that you know. I was born in 71, and back then, women were still supposed to be quiet, and we were supposed to be well behaved, and especially being an immigrant to the country. So my parents and I came here, I think, in about 74, and I've told several people this, but my family came over here with like $600 in their pocket, and we moved to New York because a friend of my father's said that there was a lot of opportunity there for people like us, and that we could have a better life. So we moved to New York, and I remember, as a kid, like, my parents would get furniture that they would find on the street and carry it up 5 flights of stairs in the brownstone that we lived in. And I remember that, like, meals were like, well, bowls of rice, and we got bowls of rice with soy sauce on top. That was like a really big deal. And for a while, I thought, this was good. And then started going to school. And for a short while, we lived in Florida. And I remember being in elementary school, and kids would say things like, they would say, ching chong chang chang chang, go back to fucking China, is what they would say. And I'm not from China. I'm from Korea. Not that there's anything wrong with the Chinese people. But regardless, it was their way of saying that I wasn't welcome. And we were all just kids at the time. So I realized, that they weren't necessarily evil or bad, but they learned that behavior from their parents, their grandparents. But regardless, it made me feel really unwelcome. And the way that I deal with things is that I get really quiet, and I internalize things, and I get nervous to speak out because that's maybe what I've been told to do my whole life, is just to go with the flow and don't cause trouble. And I realize now that this entire time I should have been causing trouble. I should have been speaking my mind. And I should have been saying to people that I don't like what's going on. And this goes along with being a female. This goes along with being a minority. I don't know about you guys, but in my line of work, being a female is really rare. And being a minority female is even more rare. And that's the strength and conditioning world that I'm talking about. There's a handful of women that I respect because they're smart as shit. They can hold their own in any room when it comes to talking about strength and conditioning. And I really admire those women, and I feel like those women should be empowered to do more and have more of an effect on my profession. And tangent. But I realized through this whole week that, I was having a really hard time figuring out and processing everything that was going on. Initially it started probably last weekend with all the protests. And initially I was like, well, yeah, it's about Black Lives Mattering, right? And it was about what happened to George Floyd. It was about what happened to Brea, what happened to Ahmaud. And it was about all the unfair things that have happened to Black people. And I get that. And I struggled with wanting to say something. And it could have been just as easy as, putting up a black square on Tuesday and hashtagging Blackout Tuesday. But I'll be honest with you, at the time, it didn't feel genuine to me. I would have been doing it because everyone else was doing it. And then I would have been, labeled as someone who jumped on the bandwagon because it was a popular thing to do. And I can't remember how long it's been since I've cried this much and since I've had this much hurt in my life. And I realized today that I realized I've been quiet. And I realized that I've been quiet because it's been my condition, or it's been conditioned in me to be quiet. And I realized that the reason why all of this hurts so much is because it's not just about Black lives, right? It's about any group or person that has felt made unequal, or has been marginalized, or has been treated unfairly. And right now, we're talking about a group of people that have suffered so much. And, they've been murdered and not promoted, not given jobs, not given admission to schools, not given bank loans for homes. And that's what we're talking about right now. But what hit home for me was that, the hashtag right now that we're using is Black Lives Matter. But to me, it means that it actually means that all of us, right? I'm not saying all lives matter and aligning with with I don't know, with evil or privilege. I realize that I'm privileged. Just in being Asian, I'm privileged. But I realize that we're talking about Black Lives Mattering right now and using that particular verbiage as a way of saying that anyone who has felt discriminated against, their lives and their opinions matter. Um, it's just that today we're talking about Black lives. Tomorrow we could be talking about Indigenous Indian lives. Next day we could be talking about Asian lives, whatever. But it's about human lives. It's a call for all of us to look at each other as human beings, as actual people, and not just groups. And it's about us trying to, listening, trying to understand, having the conversations, coming to some kind of agreement because we actually care about each other, and then doing things that make a difference. And that's the only way that things are going to get better. It really is. And this is going to sound controversial, but I don't believe, people saying things like fuck the police and blah, 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 blah. Because police persons are persons too. And I realize that there's a lot of misconceptions going on, and also a lot of truths that are going on. But we have to try to work with people as people, and not just about generalized groups, to help one another towards a common goal. The same thing, could be said about any group. We're made up of people, and I get sometimes that, you're so tired of talking, maybe, that the only way to get your point across is by yelling and screaming, and I get that too. And sometimes it's not enough to yell and scream, and sometimes it means that you have to go and protest, and sometimes it means you have to make noise and do what comes to mind at that point in time. But I think in the grander scheme of things that we need to do more listening, and we need to do more talking. I also think that we need to do a better job of elevating groups that have been marginalized in history. And it's not enough to just say that I'm not racist. And I don't think it's enough. I think you have to go out of your way, if you're in a person of privilege, to go out and be anti-racist. You have to go out of your way to be a feminist. You have to go out of your way to not be prejudiced. Because there's enough people in the world that are racist, anti-feminist, and prejudiced. And if you're a good person that gives a shit, or if you're a company that gives a shit, or if you're whatever, if you're family, school, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. You have to go out of your way to give a shit. And I guess that's just what I wanted to say. I just wanted to say that I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of worrying about pissing people off. I'm tired of being a good girl. And, not everyone's going to agree with me, and that's fine, because at this point, I say fuck off. So I guess I urge you right now to listen to everything that's going on. Really ask yourself and look deep down inside yourself and ask yourself why it makes you feel uncomfortable. Why these people are so angry. And realize that it comes from not being heard. Realize it comes from hundreds, thousands of years of frustration. And I just urge you to try, in whatever way it looks like for you, to do better and to help. Not just do better, that's wrong. But to do what feels right for you. But just to listen to all the hurt people out there. And if you're in a place where you can help, whether it's financially or whether it's with words, whether it's with influence, to do so in a way that feels right for you. Yeah, I guess that's about it. And yeah. Thanks, guys. I wish everybody luck. It's been some pretty challenging times. Oh, and you know what? One more thing. Not done with me yet. We have gotten comments from people about why the gym hasn't said anything about what's going on. And I realize that we haven't said what's going on or how we felt, because we felt like the gym was this safe place where we promoted inclusivity and diversity. And the gym is everything to us. It's everything that Tony and I work for. It's our life. It's our life savings. It's everything. And as a small business owner right now, I would never have imagined that we would survive being closed for 3 months. We have a wonderful family of people that continue to support us, and we also have people that are not able to support us. And we're struggling. We're really struggling. And it's really scary. And it's really scary when everything that you've worked for is on the line. Then on top of this, we've got all the fear of COVID. I don't even know what to believe anymore. And then on the heels of that, we've got all the protests and the outrage. And I'll be honest with you, we've been afraid. We've been afraid to jump on a bandwagon of people that, where it's seemingly this performative, placating, black square, black lives statement. And I realized through talking to many people that we do wholeheartedly support Black lives because of what it means on a bigger level. And to me, it represents all the injustice from all the groups throughout all the years. And because Industrial Strength Gym is part of Tony and I's fabric, this is where the gym stands. And that's how we feel. So it comes from a place of love and compassion. It comes from a place of going out of your way to do the right thing. And it comes from a place of keeping your ears and your heart and your mind open to listen to the people who might be scared or timid about speaking their mind because they felt persecuted and not welcome for so long. On so many levels. And Black Lives Matter has been a real wake-up call. It's been a really big wake-up call for us. And I don't know about you, but this has probably been the bravest thing that I've ever done, and feels liberating. Probably gonna turn some people away, but I don't know, fuck it. I gotta stop trying to please people and stand up for what I believe in. And work on things. And I'm speaking for myself, speaking for Tony, I'm speaking for my dogs, and I'm speaking for the gym, Industrial Strength Gym. Yeah. So, taking up 25 minutes of your time. But thanks. now I'm leaving you. Have a good day.